Hello and welcome back to another episode of Supercoach Insider. My name is Ben
And I'm Swizz.
And I'm Abdul.
and Abdul, our joint guest. I was going to save the big show, Abdul.
Actually,
This
I,
is
want, I,
off
want, I
the
wanted
cuff.
some music to come with it, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. Like I wanted some like a big Rocky theme or music or something like that, but it's okay. I can.
The
I can
eye
go
of the
low-key.
tiger. Zero trades, burning that candle wick. But look, it's a soy candle, so we know it burns strong and bright. So, Abdul, thank you for joining us. Extremely happy to be following your journey and obviously conversing over the social media as well for this year. Speaking of social media, just real quick, SC Insider 100. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and on the TikTok. Also, all the audio platforms as well. So, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, you name it. SC Insider 100. Also, search on YouTube, like, subscribe, get amongst all the business. Swizz, talk about your mate, talk about him, talk him up, pump his tires because self-praise is no praise at all, which is what I tell Jakey Stringer. So, Swizz, pump his tires for him.
Mate, I'm really excited about this. I've been trying to get the great man on. Abdul's been a fantastic person on the Richmond Forum, running that for so long, and I've made many mentions of that on this podcast. And his journey this year has just been absolutely amazing. So we thought we better get him on as we hit up the kind of the finals of the Supercoach world, and we hit that last journey. So, mate, fantastic. Thank you for coming on and joining us.
Thank you for the invite. I'm not a podcast specialist, so I apologize in advance if I mumble a few times because I'm not good at this, but we'll see how we go.
No, all right,
mate,
we're used to mumblers here. It's normally Chris being drunk, so don't stress.
It's usually Chris drunk, me talking shit. So it's, mate, you're in good company right here, buddy. So yeah, now just to give the listeners some background, Abdul and I have been probably been chatting about Supercoach for good 5, 6, 7 years now. His lovely daughter was my boss at one point, so I must speak of him highly because she's no longer my boss, but I always, it's that fear thing with your old managers that you never want to say a bad word, especially about their dad. So, mate, no, it's an absolute pleasure, and I'm just been wrapped for you, from. You've probably been always a bit unconventional with the way you've gone about Supercoach, which I kind of like. You do throw some left field options out there, and it's really paid off for you for this year. So maybe we kind of start off with where you're at the moment, rank wise, and kind of what your team looks like.
Yeah, at the moment, well, in regards to my daughter, she's also my boss. So, but rank-wise, we're ranked number 2 at the moment. And I have no idea how I got there. It's just been absolutely fluky. It's been luck, and more luck. And so I want to go through my trades, but before I do all that,
can we put it into context as well? Ranked second out of 169,008 people. Like,
that's
it's
incredible.
No small feat. It's huge.
Yeah, and we know because we're friends with Supercoach Mama Emily and know her journey from last year, how hard it is to get up there. And we know just like trying to continue the back up and even just stay near that top 1,000. Like you look at Chris, he's had 2 bad weeks and he's flown back out to nearly 2,000th overall. It's just, that hard and to stay up here. And for you, mate, I know you say it's fluke, and there's a few decisions we'll talk about where, you may have got a bit lucky, but no, there's still a lot of skill, and I know you put a lot of time and research into it. So, mate, the floor's over to you regarding that.
There's an old theory, and this is what everybody used to say, and they say it's not a marathon. It's a marathon and not a sprint. But with this new system, the 35 trades, 5 boosts, it's an absolute sprint all the way. There's no marathon at all about it. You just got to sprint from start to finish, and that's what I've done. I've gone all the way. I've gone hard from start. I've done some really bad trades early on. I had a bad starting team as well, but I just kept trading. I just kept trading, and hence I got no trades left. But so I kept trading from the start, and it's got me pretty much to where I am now. So I've been very lucky, I suppose. But
who was your most contentious starting player in your starting squad?
My defense was my problem. I started with 2 of the players that I started with I've got now. The rest I don't have. So I started with Hall. I wanted to start with Hall because I knew if I bring him in, I'm going to trade him out if he gets injured. So instead of wasting 2 trades, I thought I'd start with him. If he plays well for about 10 or 15 rounds, I've got him at least. I don't have to waste a trade. So I kept Hall, and he got injured.
You hear that? You hear that, Swizz?
Unlike
You hear that,
mate,
Swizz?
you see me reacting there because
You
you
hear
know
that?
I'm a dickhead and traded him in and out.
Start Hall so you don't have to burn
Yes,
2 trades. You hear that, Swizz?
I know.
Smart man. That's why he's second overall.
That's right, mate. That's exactly right.
Sorry, Abdul.
And Whitfield I started, and I didn't want to start Whitfield ever, and I started Whitfield because everyone talked about Whitfield, how good he was, and I just remember how bad he was. But I started Whitfield, and I traded him out straight away after 1 week. He was out of my club.
I like that, mate, because I did it 2 weeks, but I talked against him all pre-season, and this dickhead still put him in his side. So, mate, you're not alone there with the old shitfield, as we've dubbed him now.
How long did I keep Whitfield? 8 weeks?
Yeah, you did.
Fuck.
Flog.
I started with Short, and he started well, but he's not doing too well now. But I think it was a good choice at the time. It was a right choice. And also, who else did I have? I had
you got Hewitt in there, so I'm gathering.
That's right. Yeah, I started Hewitt as well, and that was a gamble, to be honest, because I watched his preseason and it looked good, but I didn't know much about him. So I went through his history, and I went through all the games that he played as a midfielder at Sydney, and they were quite good. So that's what made me keep him. Yeah,
it's good that you went through that and that, not just listen to Chris and I hype on him about him for the last 12 months, how good this guy is a footballer. But
Chris sold me on Hewitt.
Was so big on him.
Well, Chris sold me on Hewitt for sure. Sorry, Swizz, to underplay your
mate, you can
role
underplay me there. I know Chris sold you, but I know a few other people have said I've sold them on it, so I'll take some credit there on some of that. So your backline, Dawson, Sicily, Sinclair, Doherty, Hewitt, and Short. So I'm gathering you traded in Dawson and traded in. Did you start Sicily or did you trade him in as well?
I brought Sicily in. Once Hall got injured, Sicily came in. Okay. And who else did I bring? I had a bad week that week as well. I'm going to go through my trades actually.
Yep.
Actually, I'll start my midfield. Who had it as a start as my midfield. So I'm just looking at it now. I had Laird. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
I know you didn't have Laird.
He didn't play round 1. I had
Did you go McRae
Neil
too?
Yeah, I had McRae, Neil, Miller. Who else did I have?
Cripps?
I had Cripps, yeah, and I had one dud player, which I traded out after 1 week. What was his name?
Well, that definitely wasn't Real because he got 157.
Was it Steele? Did you jump early on Steele?
Yep.
I went for it. Was a Freo player. He was a cheap free.
Sarong.
Sarong, yes.
You were big on Sarong.
Yeah, I was big on Sarong, and I thought he'd have I didn't know that Brody was going to be that good. So I thought Sarong would be the one that's doing Brody's job. So I started Sarong, but I also started Brody as well. But I wasn't impressed with Sarong, so after a week I took him out.
Yep. And
I think you were on green pretty early, didn't you?
Yeah, I was about to say that, but I think your big one on your starting squad was you're all in on Wits, and I think you may have had Bruce there. You're all about the cheap ruck line.
Yes. I had Wits. I had English as well at R2 because I was going to use Bruce at R2, but he was suspended, I think, for the first week.
Round 1, yeah. So that's what I did. I think I had English in my ruck line and Bruce as well to start.
Yeah. So I had the 3 of them, and but I didn't have a lot of the good rookies. I missed out on a lot of the good rookies. I actually missed out on Hayes, who had a big round, and I missed out on Rochelle. Who else did I miss
Rochelle,
out? Yeah, he had a big first game.
I think you were going the strategy of not going the expensive rookies by memory.
Yeah,
I feel like you didn't have Horn Francis or
I didn't have Horn.
You didn't have Rochelle. Yeah.
I didn't have Horn Francis all year. I never had him. So he never came in my team. And I'll try to go as cheap as possible because I wanted to have the better rookies and more points on field. And I thought if the 200K rookies are going to score the same as the 120K rookies, I might as well have a 120K rookie and make more money out of them.
Yeah, and that allowed you to have those extra mid prices on field.
Yes.
Correct. Yep.
And the forward line is where all my points came from because I had Sherry as well. I had who else did I have? It's hard to remember all these players.
Yeah, Cherry, Brody, probably had like Dunkley or something.
You would have had Canelio.
I had Canelio, I had Dunkley, I had Butters as well.
Yep.
You probably would have had Martin.
No, I didn't have Martin either.
Not to start, no.
No, I missed out on his start as well. So I missed out on big points at the start.
Yep. All right, so we'll go there. So you've started off round one. You've kicked off there. I think your overall rank was still, I think you're about 1,100 or 1,200
Yeah,
overall after 1 week.
1123 after the first
Yep.
round, which I was shocked. I usually start 20,000. So when I had 1123, I was going to fall off the floor. But so my first trades, because I'm big on trading huge on round 2 and 3, because I want to correct my team and make it Rolls Royce. I want to make it like the best. So round 2, I used my boost. I traded out Sarong, Berry, and Hinge. Don't ask me why I traded out Hinge.
And even Barry kind of came back to bite you for a little while there, but yes.
It did. And but only because Hayes started so well, I really want to get Hayes. And the other 2 were disasters. I got in Luke McDonald's, which I don't know why I got Luke McDonald. I mean, he had a massive first game, and I thought he's going to have a big role. Round 6 is going to go into defence, and I'm going to switch him around. So I thought I'd be smart and switch and get Luke McDonald. But I got him. Also got Houston, because I thought my defence needs more points. And if I get Hinge out, I can get Houston earning some points there. So I sort of try to get more points coming into the team.
Which I already love, Abdul, because straight out here, it looks like, well, in hindsight, it's 3 mistakes there. Well, 2 mistakes, and Hayes unfortunately got injured a little bit further on. And you still at second place overall. So it's a good lesson for everybody out there. You can make mistakes with some of your trades and still, make that up as you go on. So we move on to round 3, and I think this is where you get really impressive.
Well, just quickly, sometimes you got to bite that trigger as well, because the amount of times even I'm like, oh, this is what I want to do, and I have it set up. And then before the first game, I reverse my trades, and then the more time you think, sometimes it's worse.
Yeah.
It's first reaction or first instinct is sometimes the best. And then if you have more time to think, you're like, oh, but maybe I could just hold for a week, or oh, maybe I'll just hold that trade. Next minute, you watch that person go absolutely gangbusters, and you're like, oh man. I did the same thing with Parker. I had Parker in. I was like, I'll get 2 premiums this week. I was like, oh no, I'll play it safe this way. And then next minute, Parker went 140. I think Rose has got me a bugger all, and I lost 100 points just for that week. So back yourself in, be like Abdul, just pull that trigger and fix it later.
That's the thing I do respect. You report, and your round 3 outs, and I want you to talk about the ins, but Whitfield and McGovern were your 2 outs, which were very common for a lot of people there. And the decision you made here is probably why I fell way apart, because I didn't make the right decisions with these trades. They're talking about making wrong trades. So who did you bring in for Whitfield, McGovern, and I also see you traded out Mitch Owens there?
Yeah, because I wanted rookies that were going to play. I wanted to make cash, and I thought if Owens is out, he's not going to come back in again for ages. And he had a minus something score. He was really bad.
Yep.
And I thought I might as well get someone and make some cash. So, and Bowie was on a really low break even. I think he was going to make 50 grand in the first week or something huge. So I brought in Bowie. I brought in Rochelle. And I brought in Green at 430K. I thought, geez, this guy looks good. He was, the hard ball gets. He was everywhere. And so I said, I'm going to start him. If he makes me 100K, it's actually a bad choice to think about. If I think about it now, I wouldn't have done what I did. But when I did it, it was a good choice. So I did it. So it was Green, Rochelle, and Bowie.
Well, it was a good choice, I think, at the time, because Green from there went 147, 92, 115, 108, 107. So you look at those next 6 weeks and you think you're laughing.
Yeah, but what let Green down was the new coach, because his role changed. And that week killed me. I'll go through that week later on, but that's coming up. But I was happy with Green, but I was he was one of my best players to watch, because also his dad played for Richmond, so I sort of liked him there. So I went with Green, and I was happy. I enjoyed watching him play. It was, and I know the Phantom liked Green, so he was talking about Green a lot. So all right, he took me into it. So I said, all right, let's do it. So that was round 3.
And it was that decision where Green absolutely went nuts. I think he played against the Suns, which probably helped you that week, because you moved up to 106 overall. It started to really sort of set up your season. So let's go from there, because I know the next sort of 3 weeks or 4 weeks you've got really aggressive still with those trades.
Well, round 4, those trades that I did in round 2 came back to bite me in round 4. McDonald scored like 12 points. He was playing on a back pocket.
Oh, that was against Brisbane, right? He played
Yeah.
very accountable. Yeah. I think he was on like Charlie Cameron and stuff, having to play an accountable defending role.
And I couldn't believe it. I said, look, if this guy's going to play back pocket, I'm not going to have him no more. He's out of my team. I'm not going to have a player scoring 12 as a primo in my team. So McDonald went out, and I didn't like Houston no more because I didn't like his role. He was sort of like getting the ball too much. He was just getting like 10 touches or 12 touches. It wasn't the same Houston that I brought in. They sort of conned me into getting wrong Houston. So I said, no, I don't want this guy no more. So I took him out. And I had my eyes set on Petrarca because I remember his first game he scored like 600, like it was a massive game against the Dogs. And I said, Petrarca's the one I want. So I took out Houston, McDonald, and Stevens from Sydney because he was dropped as well. And I brought in Nick Martin, Petrarca because I thought Petrarca was going to be good. And I paid $620K for Petrarca, so I got ripped off.
Ooh.
And I brought in Blakey from Sydney because I was still wanting to. I thought if you can get me 90 points a game or 85 points a game, it'll get rid of a rookie off field, and I can cover me till the bye rounds. So that was my thinking. And actually Swiss helped me with this choice because he said get Blakey because I gave him 3 options, but mind you, the other 2 options weren't any good anyway. But yeah, and I got Blakey, but then I didn't like Blakey no more. But anyway, that's later on.
Yeah, and he did go on a good run there for a while. When
not when I had him.
But unfortunately,
when I got rid of him.
you didn't keep the faith long enough.
Yeah, so Blakey went out. My defence was stuffed. Every time I bring a player, I take him out. So virtually, it was always my defence. I didn't get Stewart from the start. If I just got a good player, none of this would have happened. I would have had trades left.
Yeah,
but it was always my defence.
So if you can talk about like sort of round 5, 6, 7 as a whole, because I know for your overall your round for those weeks, it wasn't too bad. Like your ranking sort of between that 5 and 10,000 mark for those next 3 weeks, and you'd gone through and used 1, 2, 3 all your boosts by the end of round 7. But I think that leads really up to where you started to make your real move. So kind of what did you do there with those boost moves 5, 6, and 7, mate?
Well, with this is the time where I wanted to upgrade my team. It was upgrade season, so it was time to bring in all the big boys. So I brought in Doherty, I brought in Sicily. Unfortunately, that's when Hall went out, so Sicily came in. I brought in Taranto because English went out, and that was a bad choice. But there was no other choices, to be honest, because the next one was the Goey, and he wasn't any good, and it was Heaney, and I didn't want Heaney, so it had to be Taranto. And I brought in Bailey Smith as a midfielder because I thought he'd get a forward eligibility later on. And I took out Blakey. I didn't want him anymore. They don't last long.
Yeah, no, I can see that, mate.
They don't last too long.
I love it, mate. I get frustrated for 2 weeks of a play out my door.
Yeah.
Like,
If they're a spud, they're gone. And in round 7, all the rookies went out. So I got rid of Sherry, Rochelle, and Hayes. And I brought in Oliver because Oliver was killing me not having him. So I got in Oliver and then 2 more rookies, with Hayes and Clark. It was a different Hayes.
So I'm listening to this, and I'm sitting there looking at your final team, listening to how aggressive you had to start, and I'm like, how the fuck do I only have 3 trades left with the team that I've got? 'Cause I think the issue is that even with your mistakes, right? Because you actually went early and you got on one. So whereas I was overpaying. Do you know what I mean? Like I overpaid for Sicily, I overpaid for Stewart. Whereas sometimes if you are proactive, then you might lose a trade here or there, but you might pick up someone for $100,000 cheaper, which will probably lead into some of your other genius moves coming up.
Yeah.
Sicily was 505K when I got him. Yeah. So he was actually, I thought it was expensive. I thought, because he was at 430 before that, so I thought I was getting ripped off, but I thought I need him. So, but I didn't know it was going to go to 600K. So it was actually.
I paid 611 or whatever he peaked at. Like I'm an absolute nuffy, but he was hurting me too much.
So you've come to the end of round 7 there, Abdul. You've just scored a 25.64, and this is probably the bonus because you've got those extra mid prices on field that you're scoring really well. You've ranked 4,571 for the week. You're up to 151st, but you've burnt all 5 boosts and you've used 17 trades. So we've got half the trades done.
No,
All
I've got
your
one more.
boosts
I still got
done.
one more boost left.
No, I think you're done at that stage.
No, I've got one more. I used one in round 12, so I've got one more.
No, I thought that was the bye week, wasn't it? Where you had 3
Oh, you're
trades.
right. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So because I was pretty sure
yeah,
you had
yeah.
used
You're
all
good.
your boosts
Yeah.
to there. So then we move into round 8, and this is the week where you
This
make
is
your,
when
you make
this
your
is
moves.
this is when the money happened. Magic happened.
Yeah.
Now I watched Caniglio play with the old coach, and he scored 108 that game, but he kicked 3 goals. And I said to myself, he's not going to kick 3 goals every week, and he's going to play forward every week. I mean, my boy's got his job. Green's got his job. So Caniglio, and I saw Parker have a good game. So I thought, and I didn't like Butters anymore, and he was a big. Every time it was either a 60 or a 120. So Butters and Caniglio out, even though he scored 108. I got rid of both, and Cameron for 330k and Parker for 518k in. And
So I'll add the context there for Canelio. So his next 2 weeks, he goes 70 and 37. So on that, being aggressive and watching that role has worked absolutely wonders just there, getting those him out. And you said
Parker went big then, or was that the week after Parker went huge?
I think Parker, I've actually got his thing here, which was we're talking about round 8 and 9 here.
Yeah, Parker went big just before that because I think he went from 460 odd to going to that 500 low fives, and that's what I brought him in. Yeah, same time. Yeah,
but the thing is, because still he's gone. What's that? 60, about 100 points better than what Canelio's gone the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And I thought if Cameron can get to like 450, 500k, I can always trade him out for someone better. But right now, he's a keeper. He's my pod actually right now.
Yeah, but Rowan Marshall version 2.0, Benny boy.
I actually like Cameron a lot. I reckon he's really, if he doesn't play forward, he's so good.
Yeah.
But the round 9 is when trouble started. I made my biggest mistake. Round 9, I traded out Dacos, which is not the mistake, but I brought in Witherden instead of bringing in Stewart. I thought I'd go for a pod, and I brought in the wrong player. Now, had I brought in Stewart, I'd probably have an extra 200 points, and I'd probably have an extra trade.
Yep.
Well, I would have an extra trade, yeah. So that was my big mistake.
Even if in hindsight we all keep Dacos and it makes no difference in the end, but that's hindsight.
Well, Dacos is better than Witherden anyway, so actually...
I was about to say, way better. Well, yeah, Dacos is 3 to 5 game average. Oh, that's right. Witherden's not even playing the last 3 to 5 games. What was he, a sub one day?
Yeah, good. And I paid 593k for Witherden, so it didn't come cheap. So, but that was my biggest mistake.
Chris is with you on that one, Abdul. Don't worry. Chris is still bitching and complaining in the chat about fucking Witherden. I'm not even kidding. It just triggers him.
Chris is the reason I brought in Witherden.
Send him an invoice.
I saw Witherden in Chris's team. I thought if it's good enough to be in Chris's team, he's good enough to be in my team.
So you've had the round 8 where you've gone 13 for the round, you've moved up to 17, and then you've gone 223 for the round and moved up to 7th. So things are looking really rosy, and then a little bit of disasters hit there, as you said. You've brought in Witherden. So we get into that sort of buy period, and this is where you start using...
in round 10, I traded out Martin and Gipkes and brought in Cleary and Sinclair. And Sinclair was 520k. And that was just before the buy round.
Yep.
And
then the buys are really interesting because here you've made sure you use all your trades during the buy weeks.
Yeah, well, round 11, I traded out Green and Taranto and brought in Bont and Caniglio back.
Yep. Okay.
I actually spoke to Ben on a YouTube chat about Caniglio, and he said don't get him, but I said no, I'm going to get him. He's good. He's one of the chats.
Oh yeah, well it depends. But
it was probably
maybe I was saying that.
I got your advice. Yeah,
that's fine. Speaking of funny advice, in the group chat, which would have been I think it was yesterday, talking about just quickly, I was flagging how Z-Ball is pretty much only $15,000 more than Ware, and you can actually get $11,000 rebate on Hobbs. And I was just saying, Zeeble, like, I know it sucks, but I'm like, Zeeble's 300,000. He's dropped like a whole bunch. And I said, if you have Harry Himmelberg, then that could be, if you're stuck for cover or you have no cash or whatever, it could be a great option. And Chris has said, that's the sort of move that's paid off all year while others spend 600,000 on Witherden. It's like
That's
out of
right
nowhere,
that's
out of
right
nowhere,
out of the
he makes,
Abdul playbook,
yeah,
that move.
he, out of nowhere, he literally just brings up Witherden to sell the pain on every single scenario in Supercoach. So
Well,
good.
speaking of Witherden, in round 12 is when I traded out Witherden and Bruce and Durden and brought in Stewart. Actually, this was a bad round for me. Round 12, Stewart, I bring in Stewart and he gets concussed in the first quarter. And Bailey Smith gets reported, so 2 of my players are gone. I bring in Darcy, and I could have got Gawn, but I brought Darcy in. Gawn scores 200, and Darcy scores 59. So I lost 140 points there, and I brought in Owens. So, and that was like, I didn't want to sleep that night. I wanted to smash the computer, smash everything, the TV, you name it. I didn't want to talk to no one. I was very upset.
And this is just amazing because you're going through all these and they're just awful, absolutely awful trades, and you're second overall. This is just brilliant. I love it.
But Darcy ends up staying and playing, and Gawn gets injured, so it actually works out good, which is incredible. And so a bad trade ends up to be a good trade. But yeah, that was a crazy one.
Yeah. And what else did you have over the buys?
Round 13, I traded out Smith because he got reported and then suspended or whatever, injured, the whole works.
The drug suspension.
Yeah, the whole lot. McCartan and DeConning. So I traded out 3 players and brought in Merritts, Weir, and Kelly.
Yep. Nice.
Now, when I brought in Kelly, I was going to bring in Parrish. I had an option of Parrish or Kelly, so I went Kelly. And then I was sort of regretting it because Kelly's first game wasn't that good, but Parrish got injured, so it worked out good. And then when I got in Merritts, he didn't look that good, but now he's starring, so that's worked out well as well.
Yeah,
so,
I think Kelly's first game for you was 65, and then
it was terrible. It was
and then it's the 115, 121, 110. So you've got the rewards after that. But yeah, you would have been a bit nervous after that first week. But his form up to that was amazing. So
it was.
I gather you're thinking the new coach was.
Well, even Merritt's first half on that first game when a lot of people brought him in, he was on absolutely bugger all. And I don't think he scraped together like a 90 or something. Didn't he somehow just came home strong and got just enough where people were like, oh, like it sucks, but after Roy was, I'll take that. And that's the worst part about Supercoach is even we're there watching Neil play and we're like, come on, just get if you get to 90 and I'll take it. Like just get to it. It's funny because like, oh, just get to 100, and then you start to realize that's not going to happen. You're like, come on, mate, just get me to 90. I'll take the 34-point loss. Just get me to 90.
And now this comes up to the big move coming up. Lockie Neal. Now I think this is around the mark where you say bye-bye to him.
Yeah, he's got the bye round, and I'm playing around with my team, and my team's not looking too good. I just missed out on captaincy on McRae because I was going to captain him. I didn't captain him. He had a big game, 150 or something, and my captain had a shocker. And I'm going to drop in ranks so bad, and I thought, look, either I'm going to drop in ranks and kiss the season goodbye, or I'm going to take a risk, and it's going to be Laird in and Neil out. So I said Neil can go. It's going to be painful watching him coming up, but I was going to cop a donut as well. So that's when I also brought in Himmelberg. So Himmelberg and Laird came in, and Neil and 2 rookies went out. And it's worked out good because I've made up over 220 points now from the Laird and Neil trade, which has kept me at second spot. So it's just lucky.
And would have helped.
And Himmelberg, don't undersell Himmelberg. He's just gone absolutely bananas. Was that the round Himmelberg went absolutely bananas?
No, the week after I got him.
The week after, okay. That's still a very good decision.
And then I had 1 trade left, and that went on Dawson to Dawson from Stewart.
Yep.
And I made a trade.
So So you have been running the gauntlet now, but you do have cover. So because I see here, even though you've got Oliver on the bench who's missing this week, but Luke Park has been moved into your forward line, into your midfield. So I'm gathering you're kind of running that Himmelberg or Parker as your F7. M9 kind of situation where you can sort of loophole a midfielder or a forward if you need to.
I'm looping a forward every week, so I'm usually putting Petrarca or Cripps. It depends who plays first, as an emergency. And in the forward line, I'm usually putting in, well, I was putting in someone else, but now I'm going to start putting in Dunkley in there. But it's usually Himmelberg as an emergency in forward line. I'm also looping the ruckman, which is Shrek, but he's doing okay, so sort of not too bad at the moment.
No, and it's fantastic because the Wits Darcy combination, especially some of those Darcy matchups, it's been giving you obviously a bit of an advantage in the ruck, and helps because Gawn's been out, and even when Gawn came back in last week, wasn't that great, and a lot of people have been dealing with the Bruce situation as well. So those kind of rucks kind of look the better rucks on the run home at the moment.
See, I like that too. Is that if you have people playing early, maybe they're a little bit up and down or a little bit inconsistent. If you throw the emergencies on them, if they go well, then those rookies come on, and it's you're none the wiser. It doesn't really matter. They've gone well anyway, right? But if one of them spuds, any one of those three, you can then literally just shift your whole line and shift your team around to then get, say, Himmelberg on field in that spot, and then you push, Parker into, or someone else, you push them into the midfield, or then that's where the loophole sort of comes in handy. It just doesn't have to be for an injury. It just doesn't have to be for one line. It can be this real big flow-on effect.
Yeah, it's got a few advantages, and also if you're going to have, I could have kept 2 trades and not do this loop, but I thought having the loop was going to give me extra points by taking off the bad player. At the same time, if I do get a 1-week injury, I don't want to cop a rookie playing, so I don't want to do a trade. So I might as well do 2 trades and get a good loop, which was Himmelberg. So he was my 23rd primo.
And that's where, mate, the advantage of it is right now, because you've got like a highly owned player in Oliver out this week, which people are sitting there going, do I play a rookie? Do I take a donut? Do I use a trade for a person who you want and you run home, who's only going to miss a week? So I think this is where, you're going to obviously have that leg up on those people who don't have it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't do this every year. This year we've had the chance to get a lot of, my team's worth 14.5 mil. Last year my team was worth 12.2 mil. So you can't do this every year. But this year you have that opportunity, hence I was able to do it.
What's your team worth, Swizz? Mine's 13.85.
That is a brilliant question, mate. Now let me try to
because
find
I think mine hurt because I kept overpaying. But
yeah, I know. I don't think
I had enough money to kind of do it.
Where would that be in sort of like history here?
Just in your normal homepage.
Yeah,
homepage.
I'm 14 million.
Oh, there you go. So you got more cash than me, but worse rankings, hey?
Yeah, mate, I'm catching you.
You are. It's the chase
I'm
down.
flying home to Flemington Straight, mate.
I'm taking a leaf out of Abdul's book, mate. I'm going 2 trades, and I'm going a rookie down. I'm going Ware down, Hobbs up, and I'm bringing in Bontempelli. So
you're finally getting on that train. Good on you, mate.
Oh, yeah, I am going to get on that train. I've been wanting it for a while. I want it. And I was even considering getting in Smith, but then they play in Geelong in a couple of weeks' time, and those narrow grounds are not good for an outside runner. So what do you reckon, Abdul, if you had the choice between Bontempelli and Bailey Smith right now?
I had Bailey Smith in my team, and he's never coming there ever again. So the Bont it is.
Yes. Yep, sounds good.
All right, Abdul, I'm going to throw some stuff at you right now, because you do a ton of work on our Richmond forum. The running, what have we got up there? Like 10 divisions now. You run different tournaments throughout the season. You got the tag team, you've got the knockouts, the points that you've got to reach each week. It's just, there's so much work that goes into it. So firstly, on behalf of all the Richmond members who are part of that forum, fantastic, and thank you so much for the work you do. And we keep talking about it for members of other clubs. Reach out to your memberships and try to find, you might have supporter bases that do that.
Swizz,
Ben's putting his hand up.
Do you also run the Richmond Forum?
No, this is all.
No, so it's not called our Richmond Forum. It's called the Richmond Forum that Abdul runs. Don't include yourself in the thing that he's running. The Richmond Forum that you are a member of. You are a member.
We're a big family there, so everyone. It's everyone's forum. So whoever's in the forum, it belongs to them.
I wish the Lions had something like that. Swizz, mate. Swizz even did his hair for this one tonight. Literally, his hair's combed over. He's done himself up.
Shout out to Jody for doing my hair for the show.
He's done himself up up for this Abdul interview.
I'm like a proper media person now. I actually went and got my hair done before I got on camera. So, yeah, thanks for that, Jodes. Appreciate it.
Well, I didn't do my
shout
hair.
out.
I didn't do my hair today, so I had to block the camera. So,
All right,
Well,
from
shout
from
out
Brett-
Swizzy.
So-
Swizzy, you real quick. Swizz will be
Yep.
getting some lighting and a new camera
Oh,
between
thanks.
now and next season and the preseason. So you'll see Swizz in some better high definition and with some better lighting. I can't wait to see that smile in
Well,
HD.
Well, we've got a few people from the Richmond Forum who've sent in Abdul some questions and that, so we're going to throw a few out there. No, we're not. We'll leave the Jason Castagna out of there. But from Michael Fleming, he's gone. If Neil is out with COVID protocol, like if he's a late out, and if Oliver isn't fit to play, as we know he isn't now, and you don't have cover on your bench, he's got 2 trades. Do you have any advice on what he should do? Should he cover it with a rookie, or should he be looking to trade somebody, Abdul?
I would go to 0 trades. I mean, playing an aggressive person as I am, I would go to 0 trades and bring in a loop player. I would bring in a 23rd primo.
Yeah. Okay.
He's got the cash.
Yep, he definitely does have the cash there. And Carl's put it up, what Ben said before. Thoughts on potential positional moves at North now that Noble's gone? Do you think Zeeble will be that man, hidden value that go behind the ball?
I was thinking about this the other, not that I have any trades left, but it was actually a thought that crossed my mind as well. And I would say probably not. No.
Named in the forward pocket. I did look at where he was named in the teams tonight, and I was not happy. So if he was named in the defensive line, or it looked like they were trying to provide, or even getting a glimpse or a sniff of the midfield for some experience, but no, he's named forward pocket, which pretty much tells you everything you need to know about the caretaker.
You can also wait 1 week and see where he plays. Like, you can get him next week. He's not going to go up much in value. Like, I think his break even was pretty high when I last.
It still is, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, could probably get him next week if he plays in defence.
Yep. From Cam Lockhead out there, good listener of the show. I'll throw 2 of his questions at you, mate. His first one is he wants to get Tommy Mitchell out of his team. Don't ask, he says, but he's thinking of bringing in Paddy Dangerfield. Now, I'm a no for that one, but I'd love to hear your thoughts, mate.
We just saw Whitfield not playing this week, and it's a big no. You don't want an injured player to come in with 6 rounds to go. You want someone solid. Yep. So big no.
And why would you want to get rid of Titch when they're literally playing West Coast and North Melbourne the next 2 weeks?
Exactly, mate. Hold that one for sure.
Like, hello, you finally climb the stairs of hell, you get to the holy grail of the easiest run of your life, and then you want to jump off now. Like, I think literally West Coast and North, they are the biggest averaging boosting teams of the season. And I think Titch could just rack up and boost his average big over 2 weeks.
Yep, for sure. And he's also asked, looking at bringing in that M9 F7 loophole player, out of these 4 options, who do you like? Heaney, Brody, Taranto, or Cogs? Like it.
Why don't you have most of those already? Go Dylan Moore, hey Swizz.
Oh mate, I've been so big on Dylan Moore. Anybody
if there's any points left over for Titch, if Dylan Moore hasn't taken all the points over the next 2 weeks, then Titch might go all right.
Yes, correct. Okay, we did have one, actually another interesting one there. Brenton asks, do you think there's a better setup for trades? For example, the trade split into 3 sections, so somebody like you can't go as hard and fast as you've done, or kind of continue it how it is. I know there's been a few people that have thrown that up, that certain trade period, like you don't get access to all your trades at once. What are your thoughts on that, Abdul?
No, I like to go hard or go home. It's I want all the trades. but what I would like is if they had an option where you can, if one trade is worth 150k, if you can buy a trade for 150k, and maybe your team gets devalued, like if my team's worth 4.5 mil, it goes down to 4.3.5 mil, but I get an extra trade, I wouldn't mind that.
That's interesting.
And I was going to throw that as my next question to you. What changes would you like to see at Supercoach? So I like that idea that you could use some of your cash to buy a trade.
I think even Emily last year had no trades and had $200,000 in the bank. So imagine if you could buy a trade for 200,000.
Mm.
Like there's this cash off between you buy a rookie, you can cash that rookie out, and generally a good rookie is you want to make about 200,000. Like where, right? You could almost he's nearly 300,000. Do you know what I mean? So there's definitely some money there that you could be able to use. So you might almost be able to downgrade him and then get an extra trade.
Well,
I
for
don't know.
me,
It's
that would be
interesting.
just say, could I go Weir at 300,000, deduct the 200K and get Carmichael, for example? By just doing that, just going, okay, I want to go 300 minus the 200K and get the 102K playing rookie.
Or even
Uh,
if Oliver was season ending, he's worth 700K.
Yep.
So if I traded Oliver and 550K left, I can still get a decent primo.
Yes. Yeah, you could get Jack Steele or someone like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then use that $200,000. You could go from Clary to Steele, bank 170,000, throw 30 on top of it, spend $200,000 then to get a trade back, and basically you've gone from Clary to Steele minus 30,000 after that, and your trades are the same. You haven't actually lost a trade.
Yeah,
That'd be strategy for sure. That's crazy to think.
crazy stuff, but I love it. I
That
love
is.
that
That's
left
that's
field
very
thinking.
crazy.
Is there anything else from Supercoach like changes?
I've got a few thank yous I want to do as well, but that's
All
probably
right,
later on.
absolutely, mate. No.
No,
Well,
go now.
before
Go
we get
now.
to your thank yous, I'll ask you the question Ben asks me every week. Who's your VC and C this week, mate? Who do you think's the good choice there?
I always like to VC my captain, if that makes sense. So like I was gonna captain Laird. So I want to VC him because he's gonna play. He's got the early game anyway, so it's actually quite
Yep.
handy. So my VC is going to be Laird, and my captain's going to, at the moment, might be Coop but I'm a bit scared in case he gets tagged. But it was going to be Darcy, but looks like Sydney's got their ruckman back, so it's going to be Coop.
And I think with that strategy,
Yeah, I
you've
think
done
he's
a
back.
lot better with the captains because I've been relying on my captain as the backup. Where you've just gone, okay, this is the guy I want. I'll VC him, and then I'll go the more sort of It's sometimes even I'll maybe a riskier pick as your captain and that, but they've sort of kind of you haven't had to go there
But
because
if
your
they
VC's been so
fail
good.
though, then
Yeah.
people are stuck with them. Whereas at least you can roll the dice on someone to get more points. Like Lockie Neal, it's like, well, if you made him VC, and then if he spuds it, then you can go, oh, cool, I'll just go someone else straight after. And then while everyone else is stuck with it, I guess the only thing is if you go a speculative VC, then you might lose out on some. But I think the speculative VCs probably cost you less than the locking in your captain that fails. You will know about that, don't you, Swizz? The captains that fail.
Oh, friggin' hell. Don't even talk to me about that. That is the only reason I'm behind you two this year, outside the Hall, Whitfield, Sicily, is because of my friggin'
Oh.
VC and captain every week. I have done the worst friggin' buddy
Last week
captaincies this year.
would have been disaster for most. I mean, it was.
It was.
I got very lucky last week.
Mate, it was
There's
a disaster.
two
Mate, I'm glad I went to the Australia Zoo and caught up with Ben because last weekend was an absolute disaster.
there's two triggers that you can be sure of, or maybe even three. Patrick Cripps for Swizz and making him captain, Witherden for Chris, and just what Witherden or Josh Kelly or any GWS player for me just sort of absolutely triggers me out.
My
For
wife's
sure.
actually sitting there saying to me, it's any time I go and watch Richmond play interstate and then I have to come back and cop the friggin', anywhere I go that people know me because everybody knows I support the Tigers and they just absolutely ripping me because I've gone away and watched them get smashed. Lose like that. It's just awful. All right, mate. Thank you. Yes, let's. I'm sure there's plenty of people you want to talk about or thank or mention. So the
Okay,
floor is yours, Abdul.
Okay, thank you for that. Well, thank you for starters for allowing me the chance to come on this show because it was I've never done a podcast before, so it's been an honour to go to the top podcasters and start from the top. So thank you for that, and to all the listeners that listen to this podcast, this is the best podcast there is. There is no better. I mean, I'm not going to mention names, but it's second to none. There's no one close enough to you guys. So you guys are number one. And so thank you guys. You keep up good work, and you guys I always enjoy watching you guys. You guys make me laugh a lot. And I want to thank the Richmond Forum because without them I wouldn't be playing Supercoach because it's like a family. We have a good laugh, and so I'd like to thank the forum for all their help. And we've got a big thank you for I need to thank Put their names here. Let me look it up here somewhere.
I love it. It's like your Brownlow medal speech here, mate.
You should see.
It
You
should
should
be
see.
this should be for when you win the 50K.
You should have seen when I did my daughter's wedding speech. I froze for 5 minutes. Okay.
Facebook group, yeah.
Yeah, the Series Supercoach. I mean, they've got 10,500 members, and there's two guys that, well, there might be a few more, but there's two guys that I know of that do a good job running it. David Sabo, I think his name is. I don't know his.
Yep.
Yeah, if I pronounced that correctly. Sounds French. Sabo.
Oh, mate, we butcher names all the time, so I like it, mate.
And AJ, both of them do an awesome job. So a big shout out to those guys, and they've allowed us to put this podcast on their forum. So thank you for that. And a shout out to Twitter, because I'm not a big Twitter person, and I've just started going there this recently. And Supercoach Potato, all right. I mean, he's got a gross name, but he's been really good to me, and so I just wanted to thank him. And he gave me a mention the other day, and I had a lot of followers because of him. So thank you for him. And Jay Peterman and Braden. Jay Peterman's coming third, so he's just underneath me. So we're good friends. So if I don't win it, I'm happy for him to win it, and Braden as well. So big shout out to those two guys. I hope they do. They both do really well. Yeah, and
that's good. And I've seen you on Twitter, and we've said it the whole time. It's not just us, but the whole Supercoach community. Like, we love the support that we get, but just able to sit there and talk things that we're passionate about with this large community that continues to grow and grow every day. And it doesn't sort of matter who you follow or what trade you're doing, and that we can just manage to sit there and talk about what strategies we're using and just our love for the game that we play. So.
Yeah. Love for the game, observations. I think, again, it all started from the humble origins of Chris and I just talking shit and talking footy. I think we're the only podcast, well, as we progress, we're like, well, hey, why don't we just get a video? So we're the only one that actually does a podcast converted into a VOD, so a video podcast, and that goes on YouTube, which I think we're the only one that really does that per se. And again, we just talk footy, even to the point where I put up a comment last, I think it was just this week gone, in Queensland, Brisbane. I'm here in front of a computer. You don't realize how many people listen, or actually, when you don't actually release something and people actually start messaging you, being like, hey, like, when are you going to release something? Or are you going to podcast this week, or what's going on? And then you start to actually get the gravity of it. And then when Swizz talks about the attention he gets in Victoria, and I'm not even in Brisbane CBD. I'm like 40 minutes out in the burbs, mate. So for me, it's really humbling just to even have a connection to the community. I love just knowing footballers' names. If you don't play Supercoach, then there's no way in hell you actually know the intricate details of players coming through, who's a first-year player, and you're actually tracking them and where they're playing. And you know so much more about the game, so much more about everyone that's within these teams. And then you can do it in a fun way and connect with people. Like, I love it. Hands down.
Yeah, fantastic.
That was beautiful.
It was. No, mate, we appreciate you jumping on, and we are fingers crossed that no serious injuries for your team, and we might be able to catch up at the end of the season when you're you can get on screen and show us the check for the 50K.
Yeah, that'll
definitely hashtag
and the trophy.
And the trophy.
Yes.
That's the main thing. That's the main thing.
Old school. We got a hashtag bless Abdul and the rest of his season. It'll be like maybe we'll be watching you come down the final straight, whipping that dead horse, just getting every ounce out of that horse and sticking your neck out on the line. So I love it. Can't wait to see.
Thanks, guys.
No, appreciate, mate, and once again, shout out to your daughter for putting us into contact originally and stuff. So thanks to Brew, thanks to you, Abdul, and all the best, buddy.
Cheers, mate.
Bye, mate.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.